Hello, this is Photography Gamer. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're revisiting the archives with a video that focuses on dynamic lighting and how to use it, with Days Gone being the game to demonstrate that feature. Enjoy. Hello, this is Photography Gamer. Welcome back to the channel. This is another tutorial. So today I am going to be looking at dynamic lighting. So what is dynamic lighting, you ask? Well, it's kind of film lighting. It's kind of similar to film noir lighting. So what it is, you use one big light and you put it in a direction, and then you put your subject in a position where they're side on to that light. So it creates big light on one side, big shadow on the other. So it has massive contrast and it creates a real moody atmosphere. So dynamic lighting, really, here we're using it on Boozer. So we've used the motorbike. The motorbike is a great way if you want to light other subjects. The light really hits him in the face. He's looking right at the light, and then you have this really deep shadow on the side of his head and in the background. So dynamic lighting is just really a way of kind of trying to create a big contrasty image that really has depth, because light and shadow together creates depth. You know, it creates a sense that there's mystery in the image, because if everything is bright and light, there's no mystery because everything's clean and clear. When you have shadows and you have darkness in an image, it just creates something. When you look at it, you just feel different. It makes you feel different. So we've stripped the color out, make it black and white. For some reason you can't make it completely black and white because there's blue toning. I don't really understand that. I'll have to look at that. We've made the contrast a bit higher. Okay, brightness. How can we balance the brightness? So we don't want too much else other than Boozer here, really. So we'll just up the brightness and the contrast. This is the beginner settings. I use the beginner and the advanced settings together. It just depends what I'm trying to do. The advanced ones will let you deal with color more, like on a more micro managed way. That's quite a nice shot. Maybe we can even go a bit closer, perhaps. Okay, we're nearly done here. We're just kind of putting the final touches on it. Take that shot, move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one, we're going to shoot Ricky Patel, who's the mechanic there, looking at a bike. So again, we're positioning the bike side on to the subject. This may not be the best shot in the world. This is for reference, just to show an example of how the dynamic lighting using the bike light works on third person subjects, so not Deacon. So framing it can be challenging because obviously Deacon's the premise of the photos normally. So when you move the camera far away, you have to deal with this kind of trickiness. So you might have depth, the field of view might have to come in quite heavily to actually get the subject. So we'll focus on it. So there we can see it's a nice kind of portrait style with the landscape orientation. Eyes to camera, big shadows on one side and big on the other. So I think we'll keep color on this one. Anyway, so we'll go back color. So we're going to mute the colors slightly, make it kind of like washed out colors. So it's kind of dark and moody. So as you can see, it's quite creepy. You know, dynamic lighting is really good if you want to create moody images, but also sinister images, because you have all that deep shadow on the left side of the face there, and that's quite mysterious. It really kind of, it gives an eerie quality, like a horror movie kind of quality to it. So it's quite a nice light effect. It's something you should try if you want to take pictures of other characters in the game, in the camps in particular, because they're kind of like stationary subjects. They don't move a lot, so you can get good shots. So this is a good example of dynamic lighting. As you can see, big strong light from the right to left, big shadows on the left, very moody, very kind of film noir, and it just adds a real punch to it. So if I move the camera, you can see, you know, you can change the effect on the face, that it changes the shadow. Let's see who else we can find in the camp to photograph. Okay, so we've done Boozer and Ricky. Who else can we do? Let's pick a sort of a random NPC who's probably not going to make it, probably going to die in a cutscene, like in a Bond movie. So there's a guy here with a machine gun of sorts, and it's kind of nicely positioned with the cars at the back of where he's standing. Let's see if we can get the frame over that into that position. So it's nighttime is the best time to do this, because obviously the bright light, it acts like a flash bulb. Like when you do flash photography with a big flash, it looks like this. It creates a big burst of light on one subject. Anything that's the other side of where that light is will be shadows. So here, obviously, it's the same effect, but from left to right. So left-hand side, nicely lit. Right-hand side, lots of shadow. So really, it's just about finding the composition. Also using the background. We'll make the background a little washed out, a little out of focus. All the focus on the subject. Framing's not there yet, but let's kind of just deal with the contrast. So make it nice and dark. Add the brightness a little. We don't want to lose too much of the kind of brightness. We want to just richen the shadows, make them deeper. So we can do some color contrast here. These I'll go into the advanced features in depth soon. But this one, so it's nice. We've got the bikes in the background, a car, nicely positioned between the posts. We've got that real dynamic light and the gun. It's very moody shot. Nice color balance as well. Blues and greens. So that's too much green. Again, it's just trying to find the balance. But for the purpose of dynamic lighting, this is just showing you what you can do. Think of the motorbike like a giant flash bulb. And if you want to take pictures of freakers or wildlife or people, you can use it in many creative ways. Obviously, you can't use it on Deacon, which is a shame. Shame you can't leave the bike running with the light on, because then you could use it all around the map and do some amazing stuff. Maybe the developers will add that, I hope, but we'll see. So now we're just trying to frame it, position him kind of nice, equidistant between the objects in the background, sort of. Yeah, we're pretty much there now. Okay, really kind of intense, atmospheric, nice stuff. Let's see what we can do in the wild. Okay, so we've done the camps. What can we do in the wild? So I've heard a dog or wolves fighting some freakers around here, so I'm going to creep up on them like a little stalker with the light, and we'll pause it there and see what we can do. So I thought we could like put the bright lights on the freaker and it looks like he's dancing in the light or something. In theory anyway, so we'll see what we can do with it. Okay, so we've got two wolves, a freaker. As you can see, the front of the freaker is all shadowy. The trick here is obviously you've got lots of stuff in the environment that's glitching out the camera. So it's just trying to balance it. Use the field of view to go in and out instead of moving the joystick, because sometimes the joystick will get stuck behind objects. So look, we've got one here. Let's try and get Deacon, freaker, wolf. Like as 3 layers, like a domino effect. So we've got the light source, we've got the main subject in the middle, who's almost all in shadow. And then we've got some nice dynamic shadows on the wolf as well. So, okay, I think that frame-wise looks quite nice. So we've changed the facial expression for Deacon just to make him look like he's grimacing, like he's going to run them over or something. So it's nice, but it's too washed out. We need more intensity on the shadows. So let's bump contrast up and the brightness until we get a balance. So what else can we do? Let's take some colour from it. Because it's nighttime, we don't want it too vibrant. The contrast colour sliders are good for making micro changes to the colour toning. It's a nice image, so you can see like dynamic light is good for portraits as we did before, but it's also good for action because look, it just makes the whole moment. Like if everything there was all light and bright and daylight, it would still look interesting, but because it's nighttime, we're using that big directional light. It just makes everything look a little bit weirder, like a bit darker and more menacing, because the shadows hide the presence of the kind of freaker. You can't see the freaker's face, you can just see the scarring on the freaker's face, his kind of deformed torso. The wolf is kind of there with all the shadows along the wolf's fur. And we get the bike and the tree. It's just like an interesting composition, interesting frame. So in terms of dynamic lighting, just try it out, because a lot of people forget about the light on the bike. And you know, if you want to take pictures of things, maybe hordes, like find a big horde and approach them from the side or an interesting angle. And when you get just about close enough, pause it and see what that light has done, because it will create a real dynamic effect like this. So, and then once you've got the position, it's just about composition, and it's about color toning and just getting that shadow nice and deep shadows. You don't want it too contrasted because it will look kind of distorted. You just want enough shadows there so you can't quite see everything, creating the mystery. So that's a nice shot. Not too bad there, I think. Don't be afraid, once you've done one shot, don't be afraid to recomposition a little bit, because you might be able to find a configuration that works a little bit better. Again, it's just trial and error, so I think we're pretty much done there. I think that's a nice shot. Freaker action, good dynamic lighting. Okay, that's dynamic lighting in Days Gone. I hope it's been useful. Let me know in the comments your feedback. I'm going to shoot these mofos. No, I'm going to run away. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Photography Gamer, dynamic lighting tutorial. Like, subscribe, share, blah, blah, blah. Have a good one.